sponsors. So this would obviously not help, we wouldn't be able to do this if we didn't have our sponsors. So I'd like to thank our College Central network, along with Mountain Sac and Live and Jackie Kennedy Harris and 06 Media. Thank you for helping in this event, and some of these sponsors that we've had have obviously done it over a period of time and many years. So we appreciate your partnership.
So our next speaker is Dr. Benjamin Ritter. He's a leadership, executive, and career coach, L&D director, values geek, international speaker, podcaster, author, mentor, and passionate. He's passionate about guiding leaders in finding and creating and sustaining a career they love. He's got over 10 years of experience working with clients from companies such as Amazon, which I spend a lot of money with them, so that's good. Coursera, DoorDash, Google, Fiserv, Northwestern, Pinterest, and Yelp. Ben understands how to navigate any career path you decide you want to travel. Awesome. Please welcome Dr. Benjamin Ritter. I'm gonna take myself off here.
Thank you, Janice.
There you go. There you are.
Wonderful introduction. And thank you everyone for having me. Hopefully it seems like you've been having a really fun day. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to connect with each other yet. So if you haven't, please throw the industry that you're in and your LinkedIn profile within that chat box. It sounds like there's been a lot of opportunity to connect though. But I do like to use every single workshop as an opportunity for everyone else in the audience to learn from one another, not just from me. Today is gonna be engaging. So I'm gonna ask you some questions using a tool called Slido. I wanna hear from you. And we're just gonna focus on the topic of the Great Resignation. There's a lot is going on, but how much of it is real? What are the actual facts? What does this mean for you within your career and within your job? And then we're going to go into, well, how can you use what's currently going on in the job market to your advantage to be able to get that next job that's going to help you create the career that you can love? Already been introduced, but I do want to highlight that you can connect with me in a lot of different places. So I'm really active on LinkedIn, so make sure that you add me, just Ritter Benj, and I will accept your request. And I would love to hear if you've taken one thing away from today's workshop, or even just from the overall event. Just please share with me. I love discussing talent development, leadership development, and overall anything that has to do with human resources and careers themselves. I have a YouTube channel with a ton of free content, as well as 2 different podcasts, one called The Executive, which features executives and their career journeys and how they became leaders, as well as the Live for Yourself Revolution, where I feature entrepreneurs and people that are just living for themselves. And so if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, as well as a little bit of tidbits around personal and professional development every single week, check that out and subscribe. So we're going to use a tool called Slido. Not sure if you used this before, but if you haven't, wonderful, because you can take this back to your own presentations. Or, I mean, can you imagine being in an interview and saying, hold on, let me ask you some questions, throwing up the Slido and really engaging with the audience, just be a little bit creative. But this allows me to interact with all of you in a way that's not within the chat box. So I can see it directly on the screen, and you can see all of you engaging with each other on the screen as well. So you can use your phone. You can just open up the camera app and scan the QR code. It will open up a link that you can click on to then go into Slido, or you can go to slido.com and enter the code LFYCPA. And this is going to allow you to all engage together. Okay, so let's get started. So you should see on your screen a poll that you can answer. And it's going to ask you if you're employed and not looking for a job. It's going to just basically, where are you currently in your career and your job search? So give everyone a second to complete that. About 16 people that voted so far. Let me know if you're having difficulties with it. Okay, wonderful. Let's see, 17 people voted. Let's see, if you go to slido.com and the code is LFYCPA. slido.com. Sorry. So you can use the QR code at the top left of the screen. And I actually want to give everyone a chance to get in here because it's a really great tool. Once you experience it, you can use it in your other, in pretty much any other presentations or that you have that you want to be a little bit more unique and stand out, as well as poll the audience and create engagement. So you can open up your camera app on your phone if you have it with you, and you can scan the QR code. If you hover over it, it should open up a link. You can click that link and it will open in your browser. Or you can open up a browser on a computer and go to slido.com and use the key code LFYCPA. And we're rolling. Okay, well, thank you all for voting. Thank you for engaging in this. It looks like we're employed and not looking for a job. This is good to know, so I can curate my comments a little more towards that. But we also have employed and looking for a job, and leading others and looking to retain. So this is wonderful. Thank you all for sharing. This is really helpful. Okay, so you've been attending a ton of different events, and you've been really engaged all day, and you spent a lot of your brain power and your capacity earlier. But I'm asking you to please focus and set intention for the next 45 minutes to an hour on what do you want to get out of this session. And it'd be awesome if you could share it in the chat, actually. What do you want to get out of this session on the Great Resignation? What do you want to learn? What is an action that you might want to take? Pick this out. If you don't, well, then you're just leaving it up to chance. But if you really do set an intention, you're guaranteed to come away with one thing that is going to bring value to yourself. And why are we here if we don't want to add value? Okay, how to retain employees. I see that. Thank you, Ricardo. Put it out there. Put it in the chat. I'd love to see them. Set that intention. If you don't set it, right, it isn't going to happen, or we're leaving it up to chance. Okay. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about what's really going on in the job market. We're going to talk about the job hunt overall. And I'm going to leave it open up to you as well for a Q&A. And then at the end, I have a free prize. I saw some gifts being given away. Well, I have a gift as well. So I'm giving away a free leadership and career coaching session. Let's dive into some of the data. Done a lot of prep right now, set the foundation. But so who here remembers the start of 2020? And it's actually not just 2020 anymore. I mean, this kept continuing in 2021, and it's continuing in 2022. But what started all of this? What started the Great Resignation? When it launched, when it became a thing, when we woke up and realized, okay, something's going on, unemployment was already almost at 15%. Almost everyone that still had a job had more work to do, and they were doing work that didn't actually align with what they were hired for. So an increase in breadth and depth of the job. Employers lost a lot of trust because they weren't exactly transparent about what was going on. And that's not easy to get back. All around us, there was civil unrest. Our general routines were thrown into chaos. There was added stresses at home, but let's also remember that there was happiness at home. People were able to spend time with family in a way that they never were able to before. The added benefit of remote work if you still had your job. And also when things are going wrong, it highlights that things also are going right. So this preciousness of life, the fact that there is more than just work, was put under the magnifying glass, was highlighted to all of us. And so the mixture of all of these things in one cauldron, right, created what we know as the Great Resignation. So I'd like to ask all of you to see who's in the audience. How many people here have experienced one of these things, like a COVID-19 layoff, or from someone that you know, a potential increase in workload, what you were doing changed, what you had to do for work changed. You started working remotely, but with added stress or distractions. I don't have kids at home, but I do have to get up and walk the dog a lot. And there's someone that above me really likes to drum, and that doesn't help very much when I'm trying to do work. Or did some people wake up and realize that there was something else that they really want to do? Thank you for voting. See that the type of work was altered. There's an increase in workload. Now, some people here want to know, well, how can I retain employees? How can I actually, in the midst of the Great Resignation? Well, these things are still going on. So if you have people that are working for you whose work has been altered, or who have an increase in workload, or who are dealing with stress and distractions because they're working from home, or maybe that they now looking for more meaning from their work, or maybe they've experienced trauma from a COVID-19 layoff. All these types of things have actions that are associated to them that you can do as interventions. So if someone's experienced a layoff, they may be experiencing a scarcity mentality or lack of trust for their employers. How do you build that? If someone is seeking more meaning in their work, well, how do you then in one-on-ones or through communication highlight the meaning of the work that they're doing? If there's added stress from work from home, how do you create mental break opportunities or provide funding to potentially create less stress or less distraction, or maybe change the hours in which they might have to work? So if you know that these things are an issue, how are you then creating action plans or interventions or asking your own employees on how to solve them? Now, when we know a problem exists and we're not doing something about it, the problem isn't the issue anymore, it's us. Okay, so thank you all for voting. That's very helpful in terms of context. So the Great Resignation was coined by Anthony Clark. I'm not sure if you've heard of this or not, but he was a management professor at Texas A&M, and he actually coined that a little bit early on, actually prior to the actual everything shutting down. And he predicted that people would basically burn out, and working remotely would shift people's identities. They would realize that there was, with the change in routine, whenever there's some trauma that happens within us, we tend to question what we're doing. And so when you question what we're doing, and that can lead to people changing jobs. It's called, now we've heard of the Great Reshuffle instead of the Great Resignation. A lot of people are changing jobs and not just quitting and retiring, which is also another subsection of the group. But what a lot of people haven't heard is that he actually predicted it's going to last years, and it has lasted years already. And it doesn't look like it's exactly slowing down, but I think we're understanding it more in terms of how can we leverage the current environment to retain, or what do we have to do to retain, and what does this mean for us in our job search and our own career development? How can we take advantage of it? Just some quick data. I think I'm just going to say this as people are quitting, and people are quitting more than they ever have before. There's some people that are saying, okay, this was a trend that was occurring prior to the pandemic. But if you look at the data, it actually was not increasing this exponentially. But people are still quitting. It isn't slowing down. And that's all you really have to understand about this graph in droves, more so than before. And the reason why this all you have to understand, because the fact that people are quitting, you have to also understand who's quitting. This allows us to then understand, well, that's why other people are also looking to quit or to reshuffle. So 1 in 4 people quit. 1 in 4 people are still quitting. That number has not really decreased. And there are certain groups that are quitting more than others. So we have people that are within 5 to 15 years of tenure. So people that have been at their jobs for a fairly long time, not just joining an organization. Women are leaving work more than men, and lower paid roles are at a much higher percentage. The lower paid roles in certain industries are experiencing a lack, basically, of people wanting to come back to work. That's one of the biggest issues. And then also younger people are changing jobs at a higher rate. And so if you're looking at your organization and saying who is potentially at risk, look for your younger employees that have been there for over 5 years, especially women, and individuals that are not really director and above. Now, you may say that, well, sometimes the higher critical employees are more of a concern. So if you have anyone that falls into these buckets that are not in lower paid roles, you may want to do some stay interviews with them to just have some conversations to see, what they love about their job or what might be draining them. But really, these are the groups of individuals that tend to quit at a much higher rate than others. And so I see a question in the chat: why are people resigning? Well, I mentioned earlier that the kind of the factors of what caused the Great Resignation. It's an increase in work breadth and depth. It's a a wake-up call in terms of this isn't what I want to do. It's a loss of trust in their employer as well. And then also people are quitting because other people are quitting. They actually feel like they're missing out on something. So about half the people that are exposed to someone that leaves their job starts wondering if they should leave their job too. And so when you have people leave your organization, or if you have had someone leave in your department, communication in this area is really lacking. In my experience, because I also work internally with organizations, I basically create talent development departments. I'm highly involved in organizational culture and leadership development. And a lot of organizations do not have a set process and procedure for when someone leaves, unless it's someone higher up in the organization, they'll send a memo. But how often are you as a department sitting down with your team and having a conversation? Having a conversation not about why that person left, but more so why are they staying? And this is a very good idea to have anyone leave your organization, because people start wondering, am I getting paid enough? Are there better opportunities out there for me? I'm overworked and I'm underutilized and under-recognized. And so when someone leaves, make sure you're spending the time to really ensure that your direct employees or the people around you understand that they're important. Every social network is highlighting the Great Resignation. I had to include this TikTok metric that 121.6 million, views, not people, million, there's that 121 million views on the hashtag quitting my job. This is viral. And so if you're not talking about it in your organization, the people that work around you and with you are talking about it. And so do you want to control, or do you want to influence the conversation, or do you want them to have the conversation on their own? And I'd say I want to have the conversation with them. So what are some traits that you want in your ideal job? And because this is important, because people are wondering this themselves. They're sitting at work on a daily basis and they're asking themselves, am I in my ideal job? Can I get something better? And so what would you put here? You can use your phone again. You can enter some words in your browser as well. If you're struggling with Slido, I'd say try accessing Slido again. But also you can use the chat. I just might not be able to see it right now. So what are some traits that you want in your ideal job? And I'll throw in one as well. Let's see, we have teamwork, the collaboration. This is that's huge. So more and more people are voting for teamwork. That's why it's bigger, as well as purpose. Teamwork's huge right now because let's say we're in a remote environment, let's say it was a transition. How are you ensuring that people feel like people have their back, or that they have a team, or that they have friends at work? What sort of initiatives have you created? What sort of meeting structure or communication structure have you created? You see organization, teamwork, communication, purpose. What's really interesting about purpose, I've actually kind of based my career on value alignment. That's my dissertation was on the relationship between job satisfaction and value alignment. Purpose can be, even if someone doesn't feel like their job has purpose, can be something that you just think, you think about your work a little bit differently, and now it has purpose. So you don't actually have to change what you're doing, you just have to reframe what you're doing. And so as a leader, if you have direct reports, or you're leading a department, or let's say you're leading a large portion of an organization, or even with your peers and you're worried about them leaving, what are you discussing with them about meaning and about the purpose of their work and about the impact of the organization? A new statistic came out recently from Marcus Buckingham. I highly recommend you check him out if you haven't heard of him. He has a great book called The 9 Lives About Work. And his research shows that you only need 20% of meaning in your work to feel that your work is meaningful. So one day a week, are you highlighting the meaning that's within the work, or the impact that the organization is having, and providing recognition and feedback to the people that work for you? That can be enough. These are great. I actually might share this word cloud. This is wonderful. A hybrid schedule, flexibility, better pay, not always within your ability as a leader. Let's see, teamwork, organizations, training opportunities, work-life balance. And so all these things that you're writing here, organizations know about. And if your organization is not doing something within these areas and taking action, or at least highlighting the action that they're taking, you're probably going to lose people, because people know that these are the things that they want, as you're highlighting right now. And so most organizations are responding. 42% of employers have noted that they've increased flexibility around work. 30% have completed merit increases. A lot of organizations I work with right now are just making sure that their salaries meet market. And that data, that's actually really difficult too, because the data keeps changing right now. But it is, if you at least communicate that to the people that work for you, they may not, decide to do a lot of, start searching and do some research if they feel that they're getting paid fairly. Part of feeling like you're being paid fairly is being communicated to that you're being paid fairly. So 32% of organizations have increased employee referral bonuses. They've increased the reimbursements for continuing education. I mentioned stay interviews prior. They started around mental health programs, wellness programs, so not just about the work. They've created connection opportunities. There was the note before just about feeling like you're part of a team. So how have you structured communication and meetings in your organization to ensure people feel connected? And they've also been very open with performance development conversations. This relates to what are your career goals? Here's some exact feedback on my expectations for your work, and to know that you're doing good work, as well as what drains you, what energizes you, and how do we craft your job to be more aligned to what actually fits you. And so you've heard a lot probably about the gig economy, if you've done any reading around kind of what some current trends in the workplace. The gig workforce doesn't mean that someone has a part-time job as your contract employee. It means that there are mini jobs within their full job, so that their actual role can change based on their interests and based on the needs of the organization. That's another really great way to engage and retain your employees. Okay, so what does this mean for all of you? If you're in the market for a position, it's important to know that some companies and industries are growing and some are not. So if you are looking for a job, and this is the portion of people that are in the workshop looking for a job, then target your search in industries that are flourishing right now instead of not. And that's pretty easy to find out just doing a little search, looking at some financial records, looking at what companies are laying off employees. You'll save yourself some time and energy. And what's great about targeting companies that are growing, a lot of them don't actually have jobs that they need filled posted. So if you start having conversations with people that work at these organizations, they may actually create a job for you. Now, very high lucrative positions and high level executive leadership has a lot of competition right now, but I'd say directors and below do not. So that's an opportunity for people in the market that are looking to reshuffle and leave their organization. Also, you can probably walk into any networking event right now. You could probably even walk into a work meeting and talk about job hunting. It's more normalized than ever before. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone wants to talk about it. And you probably can create some really great discussions with your teams or in your organizations just by bringing up the topic. What keeps you at this organization? Just questions like, what keeps you at this organization? What sort of projects do you hope to work on in the next year or two? If you were to leave this role, what would you have to, what job would have to be presented to you? And to start the conversation, you can find out a lot of information about how to retain people, as well as just learn about the people that work with you. Companies are very worried about losing. So let's say you don't want to leave your job, but you want to renegotiate. This is an opportunity for you to have a really upfront, transparent conversation with the people that work with you. Having a scarcity mindset in this market is not going to serve you. Remember, job hunting is normalized. So actually a conversation with your leader about, this is what I would need to feel comfortable about staying. What is your future here? Are you going to be staying? And just really start the conversation. You can learn a lot about your leader. You can learn about people that work around you, and even learn about yourself, because how often do you have these conversations out loud? The key piece here that I find it really, really interesting, and something that I would utilize to my full advantage, is everyone can get you a job right now. And so if you're not networking right now and having conversations through curiosity, we'll talk about that in a little bit, you are missing out on an opportunity to build relationships, because everyone is looking for talent, or everyone is interested in looking for talent, or everyone is interested in talking about job hunt or the career market overall. that even if you're not looking for a job right now, reaching out to someone and having a conversation, people are more open to that than ever before. So it's a great opportunity for you to continue building your network for future opportunities, for your opportunity now, as well as overall, just in general. So I'm going to move on to the job hunt and the candidates market, but I want to pause for a second and see if anyone has any questions about the data and some of the kind of the main points that I've been sharing so far. Feel free to unmute and jump in. Feel free to put it in Slido. There's a Q&A section too. I know this is a fun, engaging bunch, so there might be one question out there. And it's okay if not.
There is a question in chat. Does that then tell us anything about the people who are staying?
I think that if you're in an organization and a leader, you should be having stay interviews, not just with your hypo. You know, we can have probably a very long conversation if potential is a good word to use or not. But you should be not even with your high risk talent or critical talent, but with everybody. You should find out the reasons why people are staying. And other than just an engagement survey, why not have a stay survey or in your meetings? People are staying at positions because they trust their organization, they have a positive relationship with their manager, they feel like they can leverage. So the two main questions in engagement surveys are main to be the key drivers. Am I, do I get to use my strengths every day at work? Do I feel like my teammates have my back? And I also throw in the fact that your relationship with your manager is absolutely key. So would you work for your manager again? So people that tend to stay at positions feel like they're properly compensated. They feel like they have friends at work. They feel like their team has their back. They trust their manager. And they also tend to believe that what they want to achieve in their career is possible where they're staying. And let's be fair for a second too. Some people stay because they have a scarcity mindset, as well as they just need the job that they have as well. And maybe they don't feel fully empowered to go get another job. And Kimberly, you were going to say something?
Oh no, Christina Pacheco said benefits are why some people stay.
Yeah, so moving away from this idea that everyone's empowered to go find their job, it's not the case. I work with a lot of clients that have no idea of left or right when it comes to the job search. So some people stay at an organization because they don't know how to leave. And some people stay at an organization because they can't even think about leaving. It's too scary. So that is something to say. I don't want that to be the case as someone in my role and someone that works with people to help empower them to take control of their career, to be proactive instead of reactive. That pains me to say, but it's true. It's very true.
There was one other question from Heba. How can we push Gen Z into workforce?
Not sure I fully understand the question. Can you expand on it?
How can we push Generation Z, are those I don't know, I get confused on those, but how can we push them into the workforce?
Is it because they want more remote jobs, or maybe
Heba is it they don't
type in the chat?
Is it they don't want to be in the workforce? I mean, is that true?
I don't know.
Is it that people don't want to work? I feel that so these generalizations around certain generations, I think, can be misleading sometimes. I think the pandemic, the shutdown, has maybe given people an opportunity, or maybe highlighted that you don't have to work as much if you don't want to. But that works for some people and works for others, and doesn't work that long for a lot of people. So in terms of motivating someone to work, that is I think in general, how do you motivate someone to work? Well, if they have all their needs met, do they need to work? So I'd say it's kind of take it by case basis. I did see another question in the chat around where am I receiving this data from? So this data was pulled from a couple different sources. McKinsey had a really great report on the Great Resignation. You can look that up, as well as Harvard Business Review. So really good. Gallup had some information that came out too. So I kind of compared and contrasted and pulled. Okay, moving on to the job market. So if anyone is not looking for a job, I apologize in advance for the people that are looking for a job. I really hope you pay very close attention. There are very few times in our life that we actually get the opportunity to make change and to grow. And a change in a job is one of those. And actually, I'd say if anyone is working in a job right now and doesn't want to change a job, but wants to grow in their organization, this is an important point. This is an important slide as well. So when you're looking for a job or when you're trying to grow in your career, it can get actually pretty exhausting. And you can get very discouraged because it may not happen right away. I'd say people, if you're looking for a job right now, I'd say give yourself at least 3 months and up to 6 months. And if you're not getting a lot of bites and interviews within that time frame, then check your toolkit, check your approach, check your strategies, because there are proven strategies to ensure that you can actually get interviews and get opportunities. But so please keep in mind, even though it may be discouraging, that this is a very rare opportunity and it will change your life. A new job will change your life. A promotion could change your life, but changing what you're working on could change your life. It can expose you to a new community, new skill sets. The opportunities are really endless in terms of your career. So keeping that front and center can actually be the motivation to keep you going. Can actually be the reason why you get a job that you wouldn't have applied for because you decided just to give up and take a month off. Also in this market, you have the power. So don't be afraid. Send that message. Reach out to that company. Knock on that door. Go negotiate that salary. Go ask to be part of that project. If moving forward in this market with an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset, believing that you can even say no to things, right? You don't have to take every project. You actually have that power. And it may be scary if you don't act like that in your career right now, but start small. Start small. Try something. Just try something that you're a little bit afraid of. Send that one message that you wouldn't have sent to the company that you're interested in, that person that works with the organization. Say no to a project or ask to be part of another project and see what happens. Try it out. Start with faith and then lead with evidence. So a lot of what I'm talking about right now really relates to being reactive instead of proactive. And very often people end up in a career and they end up resentful and actually go into a job not working because they hate working so much at where they're at, or they've forgotten the meaning behind it. And I was in that place once and I burnt some bridges and I wasted a lot of time. And right now, no one, right, needs to be in that place. And I was lucky I woke up and I realized that I was not being proactive in my career. I wasn't asking for projects I wanted to work on. I wasn't delegating off draining tasks and focusing on energizing tasks. I wasn't choosing to work with people that energized me or mediating conflicts with people that de-energized me. I wasn't going for promotions. I wasn't applying for jobs so I didn't feel like I was qualified. I wasn't reaching out to organizations that I really was interested in and passionate about because I wasn't sure if people really wanted to hear from me or didn't know if I was actually qualified. So let's start being proactive instead of reactive. And throughout this process, as you are proactive, you'll get to a lot of no's. People are going to say no. But what's really awesome about no's is that the no's lead to yeses. And I mean, when I connect with, I can't tell you how many jobs I've applied for in the past, how many conversations that I've had to create the career that I have today. It can be a game too. You can count the amount of no's that you get because eventually they're going to lead to a yes. And so it's like, oh, I know if I send 10 messages, I get 1 yes. So in 20 connection requests, I get 13 yeses or 3 yeses. And then out of those 3 yeses, one person wants to jump on a call. You don't want to talk to everybody. If you talk to everybody, you're going to be wasting a lot of your time. The people that say yes are the people that you want to talk to. They're the people that want to help you. And they're the people that align with what you're trying to actually achieve. This can be used for networking, can be used for relationships. This mindset will keep you going and keep you motivated to help you get to those yeses, to help you then create those opportunities for yourself. So drop expectations around, I have to get every job. I was working with a client the other day, just started working with them, and we started talking about outreach. And they're like, I don't think it works. And I go, well, tell me about it. What have you done? like, well, I sent 3 messages and one person said yes. The other person said they didn't want to talk and the other person ignored me. I go, wait, so you had 2 people out of 3 respond to you? This is a really good ratio. Why do you think it doesn't work? And 1 yes. Did you talk to the person yet? Oh, not yet. Great, talk to them and then come back. So let's drop expectations around I have to be perfect or everything has to work out right, because we just need the things that work out right to work out right. If we move forward with that mindset, a lot of really magical things can happen. Okay, another question on Slido for everybody. What percentage of jobs do you think are part of the hidden job market? And the hidden job market is basically jobs that are available that are not listed on job boards. So these are jobs that are available at an organization that are not posted anywhere online. So then the only way to access these jobs would be to have conversations with people that know about them or to be selected for them. What percentage of jobs do you think are part of the hidden job market? And while everybody votes, I saw a question, how do you motivate someone in a kind of a stuck mindset? Well, you can't change someone that doesn't want to be changed. So if someone is in a victim mindset, you can't force them out of it unless they're asking you, how do I change this? When you try to fix something from someone that doesn't want to be fixed, you're just going to get a lot of ego defense and a lot of arguments and a lot of conflict. But what you can do is share information about the job market. You can share this information about the Great Resignation, that it's a candidate's market. You can share an article that you read. You can share Marcus Buckingham's book. You can talk about it in conversation. You can share about the opportunities that you're getting, the opportunities that other people are getting. And so if you try to change someone directly that doesn't want to be changed, isn't coming to ask you for advice, it's not going to work. If you create an environment around that person that is motivating, that is within that mindset, you will then, if they're open to it, will have it rub off. And so unless they're hiring you as a coach, change their environment to change their mindset. Okay, so we have 40%. So it looks like 27 people have voted. Most people have voted for 40%, and then pretty even across the board. So the last statistic that I saw about the hidden job market cited it at 60%. 60% of jobs are not posted anywhere. That means that if you want a dream job, you want that ideal job, you have a better chance of going and having conversations with people where those jobs might exist than you do waiting for it on a job board. Also, applying for jobs on a job board, it's kind of like throwing your resume in a black hole. Every time you have to start over. So if your resume is not picked, you don't get anything when you apply to the next job. And even if you have a really good resume, really good LinkedIn profile, really good cover letter, the percent response rate still is pretty low. Now, if you don't have it, that's even like you probably won't get a response. But you're looking at, you apply for 20 jobs, you might get initial interview about 4 times. And so I know a lot of people that are on the job market right now and they're applying to 2 or 3 jobs because those are the jobs that they think fit them best. You're limiting your opportunity if you're very selective about the jobs that you apply for. So I'd say look for the job title, make sure it's at an organization that you would want to work for, and apply. Don't go through the description. Now, if they call you for an initial interview, then you can read through the description, but you're going to be wasting your time if not. And then I would recommend getting someone that's a professional resume writer like myself, or someone to update your LinkedIn to ensure that your brand aligns with the job descriptions, the jobs that you're looking for, so that it's picked up by the ATS systems, so by the scanners. But I would lean more towards how are you networking? How are you trying to access the hidden job market? So you need to build your network to access this. I saw it in the chat box. Let's see, make sure there's no questions. But really, you need to build your relationships. And right now in this market, it's so easy. People want to talk to you. People are working, more people than ever working remotely. Yes, people are busy, but they're also looking for opportunities. They're looking to build their own network. So it's a win-win. Now, when you're networking, you're not actually asking for a job. One of the biggest mistakes I see people that are searching for a job are doing is messaging recruiters and asking for jobs. That's like trying to get into a nightclub with a really that is very high status and going to the bouncer and asking them to come in. They have a job. They have a certain list of people that they want in. They're getting asked from all sides for people to come in. So you're in this crowd, like with your hand waving, when you could just go talk to someone that works with the club and make a friend, build a friendship with them. And that's really how you get a job. You don't market, you don't go towards recruiters or people that work in HR. Sorry if anyone disagrees with me. You go to the person that would be your boss, or the person that would be your peer, or someone that would work directly with you within that role, like maybe your cross-functional partner, and you build a relationship with them. You don't ask them for a job. You don't ask them if they're hiring. You send them a message and you get curious. And the reason why you're curious, because you care about the organization, because you've targeted the organization. You've been proactive. You made a list of organizations that you want to work for, the types of jobs that you want. So you're targeted. And now you know who to reach out to. So let's say I want to work for Nike. I care about Nike, and I want to work as a senior director in brand marketing. So I'm going to go then to the VP of brand marketing or the VP of brand partnerships, and I'm going to send, or a peer of mine, send them a message and say, I'm really interested in learning about your work, because you are, and I'm really interested in learning about the organization, because you are. And that level of curiosity will lead to a conversation that if you then can promote your brand in terms of just tell them about yourself and it aligns with that organization, they might at the end of that conversation go, have you ever thought about working here? Or can I do anything for you? Where you can ask, well, who might I talk to about a position like this? Who might be able to help me understand the department more? And so now that level of curiosity and genuine interest is building a relationship that can lead now to further connections as well as a job opportunity. You have the right to reach out to anyone. And this part is mindset as well. So if you want to get a job at Nike in the brand marketing department, you have the right to send anyone a message, because the people that are going to want to respond to you will. Okay. Let me just pause and check for some questions real quick. Anything related to what we're talking about? If not, I can answer that at the end. Okay, I'll answer those at the end. I just want to add to this a little bit. If you're wondering, what do I say to people? And so I like to use LinkedIn. A short message such as, hi, Denise, I've been exploring opportunities in the human resources and kind of career development industry, and I came across your profile as a leader in this space. Would you be open to a short 15-minute phone call in the coming weeks? Period. Or question mark, actually. This type of ask, I'm not asking for a job, because asking for a job is not something you do in an initial message. And especially asking for a job gives someone a reason to say no to you, because a lot of people don't think they can get you a job, even though they might be able to. So I'm not asking for a job. I'm just leading with genuine curiosity and get on a call, and then I'm going to highlight my brand and what I care about, and that might lead to further opportunities, especially if I ask for it at the end. So if anyone wants a quick strategy and they're on a job hunt, what you can do right now on LinkedIn is you can go on LinkedIn right now and hit connect on 20 people that are in an organization that you want to work for and that are in a senior position to the position that you want, or peer level role. After that, review who connected with you. You can show up on their page. You can comment on something that they posted. You can click. So if you click on their activity section in LinkedIn, you can find what they're posting or commenting on. So you can show up and engage. So be a face other than just a connection. Show that you are engaging in content that they've created or that they're engaging in. And then you can send them a message to follow up if they didn't get back to you about that short intro call, asking if they'd be interested. This works so well. Screenshot this, copy this. I promise you, if you change up your strategy from just applying on job boards or asking people for jobs, you will have too many opportunities to deal with. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to Q&A. Please log your, actually, you can just enter in your questions in the general Q&A section for the Great Resignation on the Slido app or in the chat box. We have a little bit of time left, and then in the last few minutes, I'm going to run the raffle.
There's a question from Ricardo. He says, why does ghosting still happen from employers if there are so many opportunities to choose from?
Great question. I wish that never existed. I honestly don't understand why employers don't just communicate to candidates that they did not move forward in the process. It is something that is going to hurt their brand within the marketplace. And so I don't have a very good answer for that. Other than the fact that they have candidates that they're working with, and more so that they also didn't think that you were the best fit for the job at the time, that person didn't. And so ghosting exists, and it's not something that an organization should be proud of. And I hope that changes in the market. I'm sorry that doesn't add a lot of value or any reasons. But I would say, though, that just legally, it's difficult sometimes for an HR business partner or someone within the interview process to feel like they can share certain things with you. So it's easier for them just not to share. I don't agree with that. I think there are things that you can say just to let you know that you didn't move forwards, and that sometimes you even if you built a really strong relationship with someone, they don't feel that they can legally close out the conversation with you. So don't take it personally. Just understand that person probably is uncomfortable, and it's not personal. It's more so just them probably trying to abide by their processes as an organization. I see a question around rejection, and I'd say, the reason why rejection hurts is because we take it personally, and we had expectations. And this one thing we can't control is if we get hired or not. We can control the process up to that. Well, how did we show up? So just to remember that it isn't about you. A lot of jobs are filled by referrals, by friends of friends, by internal candidates. Sometimes they cancel jobs. I had 4 jobs actually when I was on the job hunt in my early career that I signed on the dotted line and they were canceled the next day. If I took that personally, I never would have gotten to where I am today. It's tough to say, just try not to take it personally, that it isn't about you. It's what they're looking for. And it isn't even about you. It's about how you showed up in that hour or maybe those 3 hours that you had. So to say that to personalize it is actually putting way too much credit on yourself in those moments, as well as their ability to even understand you as a professional and as a person. And so based on their experiences and based on their inputs that they had and other people that they were interviewing and the needs of the organization at the time, which you know very little about, they decided to go a different way. So learn from it and try to take that information to improve the next time.
There was a question from Inland Cal United Way. It seems that people tend not to show up to interviews more so now than before and walk away from the job. Any insight on this?
So if you messaged a friend and you said, meet me for dinner, 6 o'clock, they say yes. You leave it at that, show up for dinner at some restaurant that you agreed on. Maybe you didn't agree on it. You just show up at a restaurant and they don't show up. What steps would you take? And so you kind of ask yourself, how do I build an interest from a person that is supposed to show up somewhere? And so are you clear in your directions? Have you communicated? And very often I see someone schedule something and then send no communication prior to that meeting and expect the person to show up. Maybe they didn't get the invite. Maybe they got lost. Maybe something happened to their car that day. But maybe they just got a better offer. But if you don't communicate, you don't ensure that you can find out that information, as well as build a relationship. And that relationship is what you need to ensure this person continues to invest in this opportunity. And so how are you creating that relationship? How are you building that investment? So are you proving to them that you care through the processes that you have in place? Through emails, through a phone call, through how you communicate, through the people that they're paired up with, through the information that you send them. So how are you highlighting the importance of the organization and the role within that process? And sometimes it really is just one extra step. Hopefully that helps. But people tend to walk away when they don't feel trust, they don't feel connection, and they don't feel like they have to.
Thanks. There's a question from Jay Carrillo. The victim mindset seems to be more prevalent these days. It's becoming a culture for newer generations, in addition to wanting to be a manager after only a few months on the job. Any tips on how that can be addressed?
So I see kind of two questions. One, the victim mindset. The second one, the wanting to be a manager. And so for the victim mindset, I think that really takes a lot of coaching from leaders, from someone coming to a meeting blaming instead of coming in with problems instead of solutions. So part of that is how you lead and how you coach. And there's a great book called The Coaching Habits. Check that out if you want some questions on coaching. But mainly, you can create a rule. Don't come to me with a problem, come to me with solutions. And that rule in itself can change the game. Now, as a leader, you can either, as they're playing the victim, allow them to keep playing the victim, or to help reframe. And so your job as a leader too is to help them reframe situations, not as in a victim, but as someone that can solve problems or someone that can see the positive side of things. But it comes from coaching. People sometimes just need to be knocked out of it, and knocked out of it time and time and time again, where they may start calling you an optimist, or they might start thanking you for helping them see the light. But it takes some training, especially if you've spent the last 2 years in the Great Recession being the victim, potentially in your own mind without that coaching. In terms of wanting to be managers, this is really a thing. People are not willing, and this is a very big generalization. We're likely to lose people because people are looking for career development within a short amount of time. From before, maybe it was 3, 5 to 7 years, to now people are saying, I did good this year, right? That means I get a promotion. So how are you as a leader setting expectations around career development? So yes, if you do good this year, if you meet expectations or even exceed, it doesn't mean a promotion. That means we can potentially broaden what you get to work on and increase responsibilities. Maybe that means a bonus. Maybe that means some other external benefits, but it doesn't always mean they get something. It means that they now can grow as a career in terms of skill development, as well as potentially have greater visibility across the organization. But those expectations really need to be set. And so as a leader, are you having these conversations in your one-on-ones? If you're not having one-on-ones, start having one-on-ones. And part of the agenda within that one-on-one is, so what are your career goals? And then you identify those long-term career goals, and then you set proper expectations in the present and help them understand that what they're working on is going to help them get there. Let's see. Okay, also see, how do we keep our job seekers engaged when experiencing personal challenges? However, the job seeker is eager to land a job. So there are usually 20% of our actions lead to 80% of the outcomes. So I'd say if someone is demotivated, one, take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself. So that means, take the time you need. Take a couple of days off if you have to. But also understand that even just sending out 10 connection requests and having 2 phone calls in a week, which is very minimal, effort and output, can lead to incredible opportunities. And so what's the 20%? Maybe apply to 10 jobs, right? I'm just going to hit easy apply. I'm going to open up my LinkedIn app. I'm going to go to easy apply, put in the title that I want, and hit easy apply. I'm going to push apply to 10 jobs. Great. There you go. You apply to jobs. Feel accomplished. Pat yourself on the back. Celebrate that accomplishment. Feel good about that. Go do something that fills your cup. Then go do something that you can do in terms of self-care. What is the other 20%? So, okay, I'm going to try to have conversations with people. I'm just going to send out 10 messages, and then I'm going to be done. And literally, this can take about 10 minutes. So if you can figure out what that 20% is and hold yourself accountable to that, then go do things that can fill your cup up. Go take care of yourself until you're maybe on a better day, because emotions ebb and flow. So I know we're at time, so I'm just going to pull this up. You can submit your full name and email right now using Slido. And don't worry, it won't show up. And then on this call, within the next minute, I will pick a winner that's going to, and announce them, right? Announce them and send an email afterwards that wins a free leadership or career coaching session valued at $500. That's an hour with me on Zoom. You get a recording of the session and a follow-up email. and we will focus on whatever you'd like to focus on within that
Dr.
time.
Ritter, just
Yep.
really quick, that QR code, because I closed out I closed it out earlier. I'm trying to do it again and it's not working on my phone. So not sure if the pixels are not the right size. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, so either maybe exit out and try it one more time, or you can open up a web browser, like just a browser window.
Oh, okay, I should
And
do that. Okay.
go to slido.com and try the key code. We'll keep
Okay.
this up for another minute.
Thank you. Me and those that are doing the same as me appreciate that.
Yeah, and by the way, sorry that I was kind of going pretty fast through those questions there. I just wanted to try to get to all of them. So if there are follow-up questions that you have, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and send them my way. Okay, I'm happy to answer anything.
I'm going to connect with you on LinkedIn, Dr. Ritter.
I look forward to it. And I'll give Denise, are we in a time crunch? So we have to hop off right now, or can I give everyone 30 more seconds to put in their name?
You can give them 30 more seconds.
Thank you, because I'm still trying to get in.
Okay.
And we're still giving away a $50 raffle and a $20 raffle.
Wonderful.
It says there is no such event active right now.
I did it, Rosalinda.
Of course, it's
It
going to
worked for
be.
me.
Of course. The universe doesn't want me to have it. What?
Let me check the
Wait
web
a minute. I
browser
found it
right
now. I refreshed the page.
Okay, wonderful.
Can everybody please put my name in there instead of your own? I can
She
ask.
wants it.
I
Only
can
one
ask.
entry per person.
I am
please.
an innovative, creative thinker. I have to put it out there.
I
One
might
entry per
accidentally put
person.
your first name instead of mine, Rosalinda.
I like that, and then we can share the love together. There you go. We'll do it for take two for the price of one. It'll be like Rosalinda Carrillo, and it'll be both of us in session.
All right. Did you get it, Rosalinda?
I'm in.
Okay, is everybody in?
Awesome.
Thank
Okay.
you all for your patience.
So Denise, you're gonna have to help me for right now. I'm not looking at the names. I'm just scrolling back and forth, and wherever my cursor stops is the person that's going to be chosen.
Oh, okay.
So Denise, tell me when you'd like me to stop.
Stop.
Okay, Marilyn Soto.
Woohoo, Marilyn Soto.
Okay, Marilyn.
Yes,
I will be
thank you.
following up. I will be following up with an email on how to redeem that. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Ben, and thanks for coming and joining us. And
Thanks for asking.
awesome. Thanks for being here.
So next year we will be March 1st through the 3rd, 2023 at the Doubletree Hilton at the Golf Resort in Palm Springs. We look forward to seeing you there. Think about it, save the date, start mentioning it, and plan it on your fiscal budget for next year so that we can see you live and in person.